Grab a drink.
Yeah.
We might need to grab two
No, I'm just getting a bunch of us in it together.
Document.
Yeah, you know.
Totally.
next to the fire pit because now we know where she's
Put it to
going.
music.
I just want to get a good scope of everything. I've already got it, my ways around and stuff, but you guys showed up. So might as well get you guys in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Death is not an end, but the beginning of a metamorphosis. For matter is never destroyed, only transformed and rearranged. Witness how the moment the caterpillar's death, the beauty of the butterfly is born, and released from the prison of the cocoon, it flies free. Each of our lives sends ripples into the whole of life. I'm so glad to be here as the officiant to celebrate Ian's life. I'm honored to be here, as I have been a small part of the Dunn family and Ian's life since I first met all of them when Ian was 6 years old. My name is Myra McWethy, and I am a Harvard Divinity School trained non-denominational minister. It has been my great pleasure and great privilege to call the entire Dunn family friends for the past 28 years after meeting them at an apartment complex pool when we first moved to San Diego from Chicago. My husband and my son and daughter played with Lauren and Ashley and Ian at swim parties, putting on plays in our living room, and even going up to Los Angeles together to audition at an open call for Nickelodeon Studios. None of them got the job, but it was a true carpool adventure. I also remember Ian coming into our garage, into our house from our garage, at age about 7, with a huge circular saw in his hands, asking my husband where he could plug it in and give it a try. When I presided at the wedding of Lauren Dunn and her sweetheart, Preston Hall, in 2016, I remember Ian feeling very silly when I assigned him the role of Kleenex holder at the wedding. He thought that was a little demeaning and just a stupid job. And I said, no, it's really important. He said, I'll trust you, Myra. Later, he came back and made a point to tell me that I was right, that being the holder of the Kleenex was indeed an important job because so many people cried in joy the day that they were married. Others will soon share their stories of Ian with you. Their aim is to bring you tales of a life too short, but truly eventful. On behalf of Ian's family, I thank you all for coming today. But as officiant of this wake, it is my task to help you put Ian's existence into perspective, explore the edge of the existential, and search for meaning and peace. It is my sincerest wish that something that is said in this eulogy this afternoon will stay within your heart and give you a clearer meaning of Ian's life and your unique connection to his. I ask you now to look up into the wide sky. Today, hazy blue with clouds, and amazingly these wonderful trails from airplanes high up. But sometimes the sky is gray, and at night it is black, but for the sparkle of distant stars. What is it to die, but to blend your soul into the wind and turn toward the sun? What is it to die, but to change the rhythms of physical life into that of the tides of the oceans, the fertile ground, the breath of the universe? For many, the meaning in life is the stories you pass on to those who outlive you, carrying lessons learned in love, adversity, and friendship. I ask you now to turn your thoughts to the man we honor today. We walked slowly with our grief, a journey we did not want to take. We disassemble memories that come unbidden, laugh with the tumble of moments so sweet, yearn for the unfinished conversation. Yours, Ian Dunn, was a unique character in the abounding library that is our lives. We remember you the most when you loved us the most, and we loved you the most. We remember you when you were at your bravest and did what was bright. We remember it all when you were maddening, amazing, hard, and easy. We forget the foibles and we forgive the occasional heartache. We grieve for your going, for you are our son, our brother, and our friend. We commemorate how you made our lives interesting because you were you, uniquely you, from beginning to end. We forgive ourselves what we could not see, what we could not comprehend, and what we could not do to aid you. We must release ourselves from guilt, disappointment, and prayers only half answered. We awaken and accept self-compassion for the roads untraveled, the poetry that never rhymed, the broken wing that could never fully heal. We are mindful that human beings are amazingly complex, which is often the reason we love each other so very much, and sometimes also why we need to take a step back. Ian, we watched you seek your passions in life, crossing rivers, seas, deserts, and mountains, the silent songs that sang in your head that none but you could hear, the seeds you worked to sow, some blooming, some still lying under the snow, always dreaming of spring. And that itself will be worthy of the gathering of flowers, to cherish the best, the laughter, the wonderful oddities, the dearest quiet moments, the kaleidoscope that was Ian Dunn. And we hold close a smile, frozen in a cherished photograph that will represent the best of your life. It hurts to know that you are gone from the life where we could hug you, hold your hand, sit together at the kitchen table for lively conversations, maybe even party a little bit. And it's hard to believe that we will never see your living face again. So if you happen by, Ian, visit our memories at your fullest and brightest. You will always be entwined, woven, and welcome in our hearts. We bid you a warm adieu, Ian, dancing in step and out, drumming on and off the beat, the whirling dervish of your complex essence, always trying to unveil the mystery and passion of life. Rest, Ian, rest in peace, humming a delightful, slightly mischievous, totally original melody. The family and some friends would like to speak at this point, and I first invite Russ to come up.
Oh, just 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh. He has prompts. Oh, Russ, they're back here. No, he does. Does he know that they're?
Such a rough moment.
I think we can forget about it.
I was looking for one additional item.
Okay.
As usual, all the objects are not in place at one time, but that's life. Aloha. Aloha. Aloha is hello, goodbye, and I always had trouble with that one. Hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye, goodbye, hello. And today, it's goodbye to how we've seen Ian, and hello to how we experience Ian going on into the future. He was a joyous boy. Yep, thank you. He was a joyous boy. I once upon a time heard of, someone described their child as a person who would sing, just make up songs and they would just sing. And I thought, that would be really nice to have a son like that. Guess what? Over the monitor, we would hear the singing. And we'd also hear him laughing as he practices words. Dog. Dog. He was practicing. It was great to listen in on him when he was little. Great memory on that kid. Came home and taught us the kindergarten songs the first day. Taught us the songs. Was reading off the chart, that's all the good stuff and everything. That special high velocity mind that he had there. Always surprising. So that's the way things started with Ian. Just always interesting. Then he had sisters to play with. They formed Kidland. There was Parentland and there was Kidland. Kidland had all kinds of things. They had their own monetary things. They had basking. That's the special word, basking. I think Ian was laying out in the yard and Jane said, well, what are you doing? And he said, basking. I'm just basking. Yes, those words were special. As I said, Kidland had its own currency. Kidland took over the entire house. Kidland had its own jungle gym in the middle of the living room. And we just prayed that they never tried to scale the very top of that jungle gym. And I think we made it. I think we made it. No one was injured on that slide or on that jungle gym. And as life progressed on, he just really loved his sisters. That was part of his life. And he continued to love his sisters from then on. Now, being a primary teacher, it's time for show and tell.
Oh, you found it.
Oh yes, I found it. This little thing, give us an inkling of Ian's mind. It has a special lock. It has lots of toys. And there are so many different ways that he played with this.
Yes.
This was an introduction to Ian's mind. The apron came out and he expanded on this idea and expanded on this idea. And then from here on out, he went on to a speak and spell. He hacked that thing before he knew about computers, but it was a computer. He would make mistakes on purpose just to find out what happens, which is very much like Ian. He knew that thing forwards and backwards, and it was so interesting to find the things that he would do with that. I mean, it was just a simple, do it this way, but he found other ways around that, and it was just amazing. In his later life, he shared some of the things that we did as a family. He is composed of half Ponce's Mexican food and half Venice House pizza. These were our favorites. You may still go to those restaurants. They're historic favorites here in San Diego. Ponce's is just up over the hill here, and Venice House Pizza is down the way. They're still run with a family tradition, which is great because, you know, a few things stay the same, and it's great that that stayed the same. You know, he would take them to William High C. Park. Jane doesn't think she done a lot for us, but she guided us through birthday parties. She guided us to go to the park. She guided us to have special, large celebrations for birthdays and for Christmas and holidays and things like that. And I never thought we could afford it, but we did anyway. And so those are also always special days, things that we did. And in his adult life, he would take his friends to go see those places. Venice House, Ponce's, William High C. Park, out to Anza Borrego Desert where his grandparents lived. He would take them out there because he was sentimental. Despite all of his rebelness, etc., family, sentimental. He, later in his life, met someone that he shared some of the Japanese culture with, and he loved the way it took care of people. He loved the sense of community. And that was he felt that was kind of his real, I'm going to use that big word, zeitgeist, his whole experience. And he really loved that. And although that relationship didn't pan out, that was definitely part of him. In his near later life here, he was a rising phoenix. He was on a circumstances of fluid living circumstance, and so he became vegan. He lost from 216 to 194 pounds. He exercised. He learned yoga. He became fluent in Python, which is a program language. He began building small electronic things. He started a passion project, which I'm going to cast out a spark of a self-contained disco where you put on a headset, you can talk to people, you can be part of the experience, and the neighbors aren't yelling at you. It also was supposed to contain vital signs and things that the people that were there include a kiosk that they can interact with to either buy or interrelate to, etc. Just like, and he was putting it together. This large screen would go by with hundreds of lines of code. It was like amazing. He taught himself. He taught himself horticulture. He taught himself music, all the mechanics of music. He was a huge music person. We had the fortune to meet Sting earlier in our life, and Jane, of course, is influence on that. She said, "I'd like to meet that guy." 2 weeks later, you never cross this lady. 2 weeks later, we were standing with Sting. And I happen to be a body worker, massage person, and this wonderful confluence of things has come together. But, you know, he would, don't have that particular prop with him, but he would know in music instantly. And he would take a cassette and he would put his finger on it and roll it and sing the song while he was rolling it. Of course, I put together about 28 of those things that he unrolled, but that's okay. That was a big fun thing. Finally he landed in the place that he was always afraid that his roommates would not be compatible. When he found Dante, he liked to be, he had a, he found a group of people that he really clicked with, and they were digging up grass and creating gardens and drip irrigation systems and Even the chore wheel was fun, as you do in a group of people. So he was very excited about that, and very coming into his own in many different ways. Let's see. And he led a heroic life in many ways, but it was based on community. Maybe you can help me with this, Lawrence. Shoals Elementary School, what's the first name of that? Do you happen to know? Shoal Creek, yeah. Shoal Creek Elementary School. It's near Lawrence's house, and Lawrence and Ian have a long history, which he'll share a couple of anecdotes with you. Built an empire together. And because he came upon a car engulfed in flames, and a woman standing beside her car, and he reached in and grabbed her bag and got it out for her, but the car was beyond saving. But he also noticed that Shoals Creek Elementary School was right there, and just kind of sensing the time of day, he went into the office and said, "Hey, there's a car out here that's fully engulfed in flames. It would be a good idea not to let the children out right now." And they listened. And that type of heroism kind of went throughout his whole life. He went to concerts and things like that. More concerts than I think almost any of us have gone to. He's been to Coachella a couple of times. He went to Burning Man. He just loved that self-reliance part of it. Oh yes, pop number 2. He loved the self-reliance part of it. You had to have these boots. These were good boots. He spent his last couple of bucks, I think he borrowed some of them from me, to get these boots, because that was part of living in the playa. If you notice they're a little dusty, that's the playa. It's in a lot of the things that I have now. The playa is in my bags. Okay, but those were him. He loved the idea of self-reliance. And after the concerts were over and the people had gone and the Desert Hearts were finished, he would sometimes stay with the cleanup crew to make sure everything was swept and clean and finally put in place. And I don't know, is that how he met you, Dante?
Yeah, we met doing sound at a camp out and running operations for the whole weekend, just between the two of us.
Yeah, it was part of his building dream of being part of the culture of San Diego, part of the music culture, and that's where his passion project came for, a safe and wonderful way to listen to music and have fun. You take events like this and you say, look forward and you say, hey, what can I take away from this? How can I take this experience and move it forward? How can I use it to move me forward? And in my life, I've been a bit timid in some ways. I mean, people who know me say, what? I'm very brave, I'm very bold, but it's planned and it's timed, and I know exactly how far I can push it, and I'm safe there. But it looks amazing. But I think I've been reserved, that I've survived and not thrived. And so that's what I'm taking forward. Is I'm going to look forward to push myself to thrive, not just survive. And that's me. Oh, wait a minute. There's one last thing.
Yeah, don't step on the cord.
That's my wife. She taught sound and theater, so that's the rules. Do not step on the cords. There's a mansion up on the hill next to in Forest Ranch, and it got burned to the ground when the big fire came through in 2008. It just swept down the side of the valley, but because of all of our fireproofing, Didn't touch our houses at all. They rebuilt it finally a couple years later, but it always has the lights on at night. You know, like some exterior rows of lights, so it's like this beacon on the hill. And whenever I look at that, I'm going to think of Ian. And whenever you see a hummingbird, think of Ian. Thank you for being here. His friends, his family, his community. Thank you.
Now Jane would like to say some words. Oh boy, having to follow that.
I wanted you to go first.
Yeah, it would have been better. First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here. And I so appreciate watching you all walk in. And I was watching everybody. So if you're thinking I didn't see you, oh, I did. And I could tell why Ian liked you. And some of you have the same walk and about the same height and definitely same personalities. And I'm so glad he got to be around you. Since I was a little kid, I did my best communicating in the form of poetry. I remember telling my 6th grade teacher, I can't write that. And they wanted essays to go into the San Diego Union Tribune. I said, I can't write that. And he said, well, what do you want to write? And I said, I want to write a poem. And he said, okay, write a poem. And of all things, that the San Diego Tribune published my poem, and I was just amazed. I wrote a little thing for Ian. I hope I can see this okay. I don't know, it's just a
Give it a shot. Here. We're far enough away from people at the moment. You can.
Yeah, but my nose is running.
We've got tissues for that.
I do want to tell you that the first time, and you'll relate to this with Ian, the first time I ever felt him in my tummy really hard was we were at the Del Mar Fair, and Doc Severinsen, who used to be the band leader for Johnny Carson, was up there on the stage, and he started blowing a trumpet and just playing it amazingly. And Ian just heard that, and it was inside me, and just started kicking and moving, and just, it was amazing. And I said, oh, Russ, I feel the baby, I feel the baby. And years later, those of you who know him, we found an old trumpet in a rummage sale and brought it home, and he learned to play it, and he played the trumpet, and he played it in the high school band, and it's pretty interesting. He also introduced me to Daft Punk.
She introduced him to NIM, so it's fair.
Well, that's true. He didn't want to go to the Nine Inch Nails concert, and I said, dude, you have got to come. You just have to come. And he's like, no, they're irrelevant. And he was 10 or something. Yeah. And I said, they're not irrelevant. Trent's an amazing musician. And so he goes, oh, all right. So I took him. And it was hilarious because they had given out, you could buy these lanyards that you could wear, and they'd swear they look like all access pass lanyards for people that are really something. And Ian found a guard at one of this is a little kid. He's got the lanyard. He flashes the lanyard at the guard, and the guard lets him in to go see Trent. And I had to go behind him, and I flashed mine. I said, "You just let my son in." And he goes, "Go ahead." So so I was in. This poor guard, he probably got fired, but we went in, and the sad part, though, and I feel bad about this, Ian, I do. I wish I'd just let you go. But I was calling, Ian, get back here, because I was afraid that he'd go in the room and just like hug Trent, and Trent might freak out, or be mean to him or something. And I just thought, oh, we're going to be in so much trouble because we don't have the right passes. And
She's such a mom.
and anyway, I did. I remember to this day, he did stop, and he came back to me, and I said, "Oh, I'm glad you did, because I think that's the best way. But I should have just let him go in and tackle Trent, because that would have been perfect." And of course, now Trent's married and has children of his own, so could have prepared him. When we first had him, I was in labor for 2 days, and they said, "Well, this kid's not coming out," so they had to do an emergency C-section. And he spent 8 days in the ICU, and he came home on Thanksgiving, and he promptly, my parents had come in, they had a brand new Airstream trailer, and everything was spotless and perfect. And Ian went ahead and did a gigantic poop. And took him into the trailer, we got him out of the hospital. And that was one time when my mom was like, "Oh, that's okay, we'll just wash him off." Because he was the grandson, and that made him perfect. And he was always fascinated with weather, and we loved weather. And you don't get much of that in San Diego, but he liked when we did get some. And he went up to a DJ, Ken Copper, that was on KBS 95, that used to be the oldie station in San Diego, and Ken liked him so much, he said, "Hey, call me on Monday morning and I'll put you on the radio." And that was it. They made a little show for him, even 7:30 after the news, weekdays, for several years. It was Ian Dunn on the Run. And he did, it's going to sound not real, but it's true. He did over 300 interviews over the period of a number of years, and they were so funny. He would always ask 3 questions of a person, and I remember when he went to Wacky Wicker, and he says, "Now, what makes your wicker so wacky?" He was just a little kid. And his sisters, bless their hearts, they sat in the back of our car. I felt so bad for him, because he was doing his big interview, and they had to sit there and wait till it was over. But they were so sweet about it. I never heard a complaint. And at any rate, he would ask the 3 questions, and after the second question was answered, his final getcha was, "Hey, and by the way, do you have any free stuff?" And they go, "Free stuff?" And we had this biker guy that looked like he could just, you'd want to cross him in a dark street. And he gave him a bandana that he got from Sturgis, which was just, what? And he gave it to Ian because he thought Ian was so cool. And it was just great. And oh my gosh, I can't think. Stan Humphries. He interviewed him. He used to be with the Chargers, that team that used to be San Diego Chargers. Screw them, they're LA Chargers now. Anyway, he would, and John Carney was the kicker. And it was just so incredible, because we got to go to Charger camp, and I remember John taking his arm and putting it around Ian, and they walked across this bridge together, and John had said to him, "Hey, come on, take a walk with me." and that was just so cool. And you know, when they got back, I had to say, Ian, what'd you talk about? He goes, I don't say, Ian. And he never did. He never told me. He never ever told me what he and John talked about, but that's good. And I know they were talking. Thank you, John, for that. And I wrote a little poem for him in closing here. It's a little broken up, so I might not do it too great, but I put, oh, darling boy, where have you gone? Leaving us all and the world without your smile. No amount of words can ever bring you back or settle my heart that misses you so. If there is a heaven, you will be there, your sadness gone, your quirks and twitches calmed, and your heart will be full. And I love you, Ian, so much. And you'll always be with me forever. That's it.
Jane's brother is quite into spiritual things, and as well as his wife, and been looking for a way to hold this moment. And they said they just kind of looked into Ian's space. What they got back was this big, warm smile that he's all right, and he's on to other things. Who knows what?
And then he loved everybody.
And then he loved everyone.
Enough for that.
Sugar, would you please come up?
So, first time I met Ian, he was 18. I'm a little bit older than him. And I actually hired him at the record store we worked at together. And Ian was a ball of energy, and the first thing he made sure we all knew is about that. And he showed us a video that he had made with some friends of his, and this was on a website called E-Bombs World, where some fun things happened a long time ago, and that video was him throwing himself on a moving car.
Who remembers that one?
So, as we all know, Ian was an entertainer, and that's pretty much all he cared about, was making sure people were happy, having a good time. Without Ian, I wouldn't have started a group called the Infusion Project. I probably wouldn't have done as much traveling as I've done. I definitely wouldn't have learned as many things as I have about computers and music even. I mean, even though I've been in the music world for a long time, Ian, I could always be relied on for all the answers. Technology, weather, and we had amazing conversations about weather. I'm pretty sure that many of us could write whole books of our experiences with Ian. And they always had laughs. They were always funny. And he definitely took us all on a journey. And he took care of me as much as I took care of him. When I needed a place to stay, he let me live in his house. I didn't have to pay rent. My dog got to be there with his dog, you know, just like taking up his space. Being a jerk to him even. He didn't care. And so this image right here, this is my record label image, and I started that label because of Ian. Because Ian told me to just do what I know to do, follow my dreams, which is what, you know, we both held each other to. And I am living the life of my dreams because I stuck to it, and he was there a good amount of the way, and I'll cherish that about it.
Ben? Is Ben here?
Yep. One last drink. There's tissues on the podium too. Smart.
Hello, my name is Ben, for some of those that don't know me. I've known Ian for quite a good chunk of time. You know, all these things, it's quite exciting to come here and see, you know, the kind of different perspectives that have, you know, been shared with Ian. Just like Sugar said, we can all write a book with the experiences that we've had with Ian. And I've been in a punk band with Ashley. Ashley used to play bass. You know, I played drums, and Ian played guitar. And, you know, we were listening to Casualties. We were like 13, 14, you know, and we played a show in Rancho Bernardo, out of all places, in like community center, HOA neighborhoods all around us. The majority of the homeowners around is 55 plus. We hustled them real good. They used to have, like, you can rent out this little, you know, this little party house, right, for parties and stuff. And, you know, they'd have some really killer parties. And so I'm like, man, let's just throw a show there. We're not going to tell them what kind of music we're playing. The day it opens, they're going to hear us, and that's it, you know? They can't kick us out. We conned my mom into like getting the paperwork from the community center, filling out the paperwork. I think it was like $150 deposit we had to put, you know, any damage done, you gotta pay this and this and that, whatever. You know, what are you guys doing? Playing music. Like, signed off, ready to go. We invited everybody, all of our friends, and we had some pretty gnarly friends. I had a mohawk, like 8 inches tall, and it was pretty gnarly. And they all came. It was like maybe 80 people, 100 people, and we started playing. We had like 3 other openers for us, and they just like it was horrible music, you know. But we did it, and after that, like, we were fucking unstoppable, and you know, we shared a great love of music together. You know, he supported me in times that I needed support. I as well lived with him before Sugar, you know. I think, and
like the month before.
Yeah, like I think I had left, and he was like, all right, well, Sugar, hey, my living room's available, come cruise in, you know, because I lived in his living room. But that's who he was. And you know, like Sugar said, being a jerk to him, it wasn't being a jerk. We loved him so fucking much, and we knew he had so much goddamn fucking potential that if he got his fucking shit together, we'd all be fucking amazing, right? But see, through him, through interactions with him, through Debo, through Lawrence, through fucking all you guys that have lived with him, you know, huge influences, right? And he just found different people and he clung to people that brought him up, right? You never saw Ian around someone that's gonna fucking bring him down, right? You know, yeah, he did a bunch of sketchy shit. Right? He did a lot of sketchy shit, but you knew that he was capable, right? Because he was fucking intelligent. He was brighter than a fucking doornail, right? And you know, he knew a lot of shit about everything, right? Okay, another quick story. When I lived with him in PB right before Sugar, we didn't pay for fucking Wi-Fi. We didn't do none of that shit. You know what Ian did? This motherfucker found an open Wi-Fi line called Beach Girls. And we were riding that for like, you know, years, right? And they got a new router and they put a password on their shit. And he's like, oh, yeah? Well, I'm gonna fucking figure out their password and I'm gonna get back on your fucking line and we're gonna ride you some more. That's exactly what happened. So, you know, we saved ourselves a bunch of money. But anyways, I love the guy and
he fixed their router when it was having some problems.
Oh, no.
Secretly went in and
he was like, oh, they called AT&T. They know something's up. I need to restart the router and see if I can fix it. Motherfucker, restart the router. We never met these girls. We were always curious, who's the beach girls? You know? Because we were in the vicinity of picking up, and he had like those little strong signals, like we get a Beckner signal if we put these in, you know? And we were beaming, man, Netflix all the time. But anyways, you know, a little later in life, you know, I reciprocated all that, you know, all that love that he showed me and gave me, you know, all that good time, you know, and it was fun. And he went through some hard times, and those hard times were somewhat of a necessity for Ian, you know. And I just want to point out that within all those hard times, he found and he like really claimed his independence. And not necessarily he hadn't gained his full independence, but he was definitely, you know, he was on his way. He made some serious changes, and I was super proud of that guy, because I've seen him from. We used to pick up old meth pipes and smoke them. All right, I'm sorry, but like, you know, this is kind of where we've been from, right? From doing crazy shit like that to really helping each other grow. And respond well in our community and really be like a productive member of society, right? And that was important to him because we're all, I'm a reckless soul, you know, and so is he. And we're out there, but we've kind of like toned it down so where we can kind of figure out our way within these bounds of reality here on earth, people, you know, and judgment. You know, and so yeah, I was super proud of what he was becoming, even more so, and that was just he was just blooming. It was just more of a blossom to his huge fucking flower, and it's a very rare flower. You'll never see it again. I'll tell you that much. And but I'm so fucking blessed to have him around, to have had him, and to experience it with all these beautiful faces. You know, there's more people out there that would have loved to have been here, and you know, let alone they get reached or not. You know, we'll keep trying to peg them out, but whatever. And yeah, thank you.
Lawrence?
Oh my. Good.
And thanks for breaking the seal. It was hard when I was being asked, hey, could you say a few words for you? And it's hard to figure out what to say because you have to also figure out what you're going to leave out, too. Kind of made me come up with some choices on the fly. Thank you. You know, knowing that, I definitely wanted to preface that. Some of you guys have asked me how I know Ian. I've known Ian since I was 7 or 8 years old. So, at this point, 27 years. He's my oldest friend, my best friend. But the story about how I met him was we both had the same second grade teacher. And, we're sitting there, the teacher's reading a story, sitting there, and I don't know him. And he reaches over, he goes, "Hey, give me your hand." You're 7 years old, you give him your hand. He takes my hand and he cracks my knuckles. I don't know if you've ever cracked your knuckles, but the first time you do it, it's the most painful thing you've ever experienced. And my eyes start watering, and I'm just like, I can't believe it. And he goes, "And you know what? You could do it for all your fingers too." So we became best friends. And, I really had a lot of admiration for him because, when I was growing up, 7, 8, 9 years old, he told me he was on the radio. And back then, being on the radio was like, you're a movie star, you're all of this. And I wasn't listening to any music back then. And he introduced me to the oldies. And one day I was just listening to KBS 95 because that was the radio station he told me to listen to. And this little kid comes on and he goes, "Hey, you're listening to the best oldies all the time, KBS 95. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's my friend Ian." And I called him. And I was just so enamored by it, just like his talent, his skill, his mind, his creativity. I remember reading in class where the teacher would call on everybody and say, "Can you read a passage? Can you read a passage?" And all of us, we'd read, we'd say, every word at a time, try to figure it out. And he was fluid. And he had the intonation, and he could do that thing where he would look at some of the words, read it, and look up from it at a young age. And I just remember being so incredibly impressed with him. So we became friends. We stayed friends for many, many years, just every single day, hung out with each other. Around the time when we were about 16, this television series got really, really popular. The name of Jackass was really, really popular. So we decided to take our lives in a slightly different direction. It was just going to be a great way to get famous, get rich, and we saved our money for a video camera. We made all these videos. We would sit there and think about what would be really, really hilarious that we could get on video. We ended up swimming in golf course ponds while people were playing golf. We flew kites on the freeway while we were driving. Sorry, guys. Ben, really, this whole thing has gone in another direction.
Thanks for breaking it open,
Thank you. We flew kites while we were on the freeway. We jumped down hills because they did it too. We rode down hills and shopping carts. We did all of that stuff. Ian just thought it was a great idea. And that kind of turned into this famous let's drive from San Diego to New York City. It turned into that trip.
Road trip.
And, 17, 18 years old, we had no money at all. Seriously, no money at all. No credit cards, no nothing. And one of the problems we had to solve was, how are we going to pay for food for 2 weeks there and back? We didn't have a solution. We might have had $40 to our name. And Ian, being the creative genius that he was, well, there was 3 of us. We were all really into punk music, especially The Offspring. We had a 1986 Delta 88 that we would drive cross country. But what would we do for food? And he came up with the solution. He was like, you know what? At Costco, they sell these meal replacements for $1 a can. It's called Slim Fast. If you just drink one of them, we won't have to eat for a meal. And if we buy 2 cases of it, that'll be like 96 meals. We're all good. So if you can imagine 3 teenagers in Offspring shirts, black clothes, the mohawks, bumping music in a Delta 88, drinking Slim Fast, driving down the road. That was his solution for how we're going to save money. And we did it. We did it exactly that way.
Wow.
We were hungry the whole time. We did it.
Lost a little weight.
It was an old car. When I was driving it, I'd take it easy, not try to slam on the accelerator too hard. But Ian loved his music. And he loved to get into his music while he drove. I remember when he started listening to Prodigy, especially that song, I think it was, excuse me, Smack My Bitch Up or something.
Yeah.
As soon as that line came on, he floored the accelerator and it blew out the transmission. So now we're stuck in Maryland. No money, no nothing, car's busted. And he gets this brilliant idea. And he says, let's call 91X in San Diego and have them play The Offspring and tell people that, you know, we're not doing too good and maybe they'll help send us some money. And so 91X played The Kids Aren't All Right. And I remember the line. I forgot who said it, but they were on the air and they were like, this song is for the kids that aren't all right. And it's The Kids Aren't All Right by The Offspring. And that was my first time to actually get on the radio. So you know, I appreciated that very much.
Did they send you money?
We never got any money. Great idea. You know, Ian and I have actually been on a lot of business ventures together. We started a CD, DVD disc duplication company. We started a video production company.
Legal?
Excuse me?
Legal?
Oh yeah, yeah. Legal, video production company, CD, DVD duplication company, a wedding video company, printing company. And actually with the printing company, we started my garage. Again, no money, started from scratch. Ian was our first or second employee. We worked like crazy. We cared. I have so many pictures of him tearing apart machines that we didn't understand, trying to put it back together. Today we have about 70 employees across the country. We couldn't have gone there without Ian. We're working right now on designing our 10-year yearbook, and there's a Hall of Fame, and he's in that. And there's only 5 people in that Hall of Fame, and Ian's in that. And so everything we did, we couldn't have done it without him. But as we were kind of getting bigger, Ian went on and did some of his other things. And one story that I really remember is the biggest meeting of my life. We were in Chicago for my birthday, but we had the biggest meeting of my life. And, you know, my executive team's there. Ian was hanging out in the kitchen, and we were doing this conference call with all these big Xerox executives. But the night before, we were celebrating my birthday. Ian drank so much alcohol. He just drank so much, and the next day, during our call, we're all there. We're all trying to be as professional as possible. And these Xerox executives started asking us about our capabilities. And as I'm explaining our capabilities, you can hear from the kitchen this guy throwing his guts up. And I remember the sound because it's like, well, you know, we have multiple facilities. We got 12 presses. For 5 minutes, we were trying so hard. And I think at one point, one of them said, is there something going on in the background? I'm like, oh no, it's just a bad kid. The whole time, he could not get it out. The biggest meeting of my life, and he's throwing up. He kept saying, I'm wrecked, I'm wrecked.
Did you get the contract?
There's not really a lot of money in any of these stories. So there really. I want to close with with my best way to describe the question of how would you describe Ian? And the thing is, you can't. You can't really just describe this bundle of energy, creativity, joy, hard work, resilience, never give up, look at world in a positive approach no matter what. There's no one like him like that. But one of the video projects that I wanted to do back in the day was about driving. I thought it would be so cool to make this video about driving and all this stuff. And there was this scene that we needed to have where this car hits this guy.
Oh, no.
Maybe this was referenced a little bit earlier by Sugar. And excuse the French, but I'm quoting this. There's a scene where a car hits somebody, and Ian volunteered himself as the person who wanted to be hit. But we thought it was all going to be safe. He said, "Don't worry about it. We'll just drive really, really slow, and we'll speed it up in post," which almost never happens, right? So my friend's driving. I'm behind the camera, and first 2 times we do it, it doesn't look right because we're trying to fake the slow motion. And 30 minutes in, Ian just starts getting frustrated. And he looks at my other friend, and he said it this way too. He's like, "Stop being a pussy. Let's just do it full speed." And so my friend goes, "Okay, are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, let's just do it." And that video, if you guys ever see it, is walking out into the street and the car's coming down. You can see the exact moment in his gait where he realizes this is a bad idea. Like, it starts off like, and then just leaves. But then it's too late. He got hit and he flew 15 feet.
It's over dedication.
Is it?
Before we shot that scene, I was behind the camera, and jokingly, I said, "Hey, Ian, you got any last words?" And I think what he said is probably the best way I'd be able to describe him. He laughed. He said, "Last words. Fuck all my ex-girlfriends. I love my parents. And sex, drugs, rock and roll. Let's go." That's Mr. Ian Dunn. Love you, man.
If you have any other wonderful stories to share, instead of taking time now, we have this wonderful memory cards that we put in the bags, that they put in the bags, and there's a pen in most of them bag. Please write the truth. His parents can take it if there's a special moment or moments that you have. We would really appreciate that. And now we're going to do a slideshow that Preston stayed up until 4 o'clock in the morning.
We didn't need to say that part.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
That explains a lot. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, he was kind of doing that, but not the sex, the drugs, and the rock and roll.
Well, I mean.
Oh, you did have rock and roll. So we will enjoy this together.
Preston, the TV is off.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. You know what? Let me get to the beginning of this then before I make everyone sick with like running through a million slides at 2 seconds.
Yay!
That's it. Thanks, folks.
This would be when Ian would jump up and do
Yes.
it.
All right. All right. way?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
There he is.
That's my favorite.
Oh my God.
Superhero.
Preston.
Oh, $5.
Oh.
Every little swallow, every chickadee, every little bird in the tall tree. The wise are loud, the big black crow, like their wings singing low.
Oh, yeah.
Rockin' Robin, oh, rockin' Robin, 'cause we're really gonna rock tonight.
Grabé todo. I'm just gonna bring this again.
We do need a second light. Any light will do. I'm right here. Water is kind of a portal to another dimension. And I don't know what other places does this, but in Hawaii, when a ship leaves the island, when there's a separation between people who are going one place and people who are staying, they often give streamers, and they often have lays. And as the ship pulls away from the shore and moves out on its journey, oftentimes the people would throw their lays upon the water. And they float there in remembrance. And in this case, maybe transporting of the memory. So do we have the music? And this is a Hawaiian fellow. You can ooh along with him or not.
Bretta is. You know who Bretta
But I think
is?
it's a great way to start.
Oh man.
We are about ready, though. We're going to do the slight one. What? Yeah, we're ready to go.
Lyrics are on the back of your photographs if you'd like to sing along.
It has the ooze.
Bretta is. This is a good jam. You never heard this jam before?
I think I have, yeah.
Yeah. It's like a super big fan.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I just didn't know his name.
Yeah. Well, he's got a really fucked up name. You have that program?
No.
It's like Kumaniki,
Yeah,
wacky
Hawaiian.
Over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, blue
trouble drops like lemon drops high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly and love dreams that you dare to. Why, oh why can't I someday wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind.
They got that shit.
Aloha, Ian.
Aloha.
Mahalo, brother.
The family hopes that you'll stay and enjoy some refreshments with us and share stories. Thank you very much for being here, and please tell all of Ian's friends how much he is missed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And there's a lot to eat.
Oh yeah.
We have remembrance shots over there. A moment with Ian.
All right, buddy. All right, I got like 20 minutes of video. I'm gonna leave this by the shots. If you want to come take a shot and say something in here, feel free. All right. Shit. All right, man. Patron. You know how many bottles we've been through, bro.
Right there, 'cause we like to have the shot.
In case you guys wonder, Ian is with us.
What scare you want?
Actually, I told him just a little bit for Eric.
Okay.
He's going to the bathroom. I imagine he won't be taking more whiskey or.
Whiskey or tequila?
Or no whiskey. Absolutely whiskey. Tequila's a fucking nice. Oh, cool. They're baby shots. Perfect.
You guys want to get on the camera?
Ian's going over to the memorial table over here. Say goodbye. Write that last little anecdote from the notes in your bag. There's a pen.
Where does this go?
Right here.
There's one shot over there for you to celebrate him with.
I know. Like I need to think about that.
When you're ready, you can also think it. So just take a shot, bring it over when you're ready, and then there's a little trash for you. So say would you
It's
like
he's
to...
watching everybody come and just take a shot, you know?
Pastor, can you help me make some of the cold drinks over here?
Because we live in Woodsburg earlier. We were literally talking about this is weirdly doesn't mind
Then over here so you can say hey. But yeah, no, because it helps. It's more than just there's the first service and then you share stories and write what you do and meet people and you'll find out things that you never knew about the person just because you're one person.
Right.
So it's
You just get like a comprehensive picture of, like, and he was such a positive, like, in the short time that I knew him too, like, that's what I'm trying to, hopefully I'm able to cherish and, have a living example or amends, the way I carry my life in the future, and have that little piece of it. I'm actually in his rooms that I think you guys came by to bring out.
Sorry.
What? No, sorry for. There's nothing to be sorry about. Being in there, I think about it very often because there is kind of like those are good things. I only hope that he's watching over and that his ability to be himself unashamedly is just something that I really looked up to. Like, he was just so authentic. Like, he never tried to wear a mask or hide it or anything like that. And I just want to say, sorry for your loss. He was really, he touched a lot of people in really good ways.
It's the character's just like, it's really getting to take time to care of himself.
He was doing so well, from what I've seen and all the potential that we all know that he had, he was on such a good trajectory. He didn't really strike me as somebody that cared too much about what other people would describe as success. He wasn't like he knew programming on a level as a person. I'm a coder programmer. He was right there. He could have, he didn't care about that.
Yeah, no, because that was the other thing too. Is it's sort of I pointed towards Ada because it's like
Ada through and
Because it's like, dude, your stuff is up. It's like you had this vision, and I'm like, okay, this is the entry level way to get into it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm sorry, I can't help. I only have minimal Java, and it's like Khan Academy.
Hey, that's still good stuff though. I actually told him about Khan Academy. I was like, Khan Academy's great for programming.
I can make a fish open its mouth and quit. I don't even have to brag. It's like objectualized right there.
I know the exact lesson you're talking about. It's like you draw them out and you can make it move. Yeah. Remember. That's good stuff.
Oh, and then move the thing off the top so people know where the non-alcoholic is.
Oh, well, I'll move the napkin. Okay, I can fill
these his shades? Oh, they're your
yeah.
shades? Oh.
Well, you put
I
it
swear I've
next to
seen him wear those.
You put it next to the memorial ramen. He's like,
we were gonna go get some ramen.
there's 7,000 shades we found so far.
Yeah, we were gonna go get some ramen. This is really vegan place I wanted to try.
No, that's really awesome. Yeah, that was actually probably my first memory meeting him. So the house meeting interview. There's a rock on the back. The lights are right over here.
Sorry?
Yeah, he loved cooking. He loved Asian food.
Oh yeah,
It's on point.
It's like 10 cooks do.
Yeah.
That's glass. I think at this point we can.
It can be exposed. It can be exposed at this point.
Put it there.
It's so awful that. Hi. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, so glad.
Giving us the chance
What's
to
your name?
my name's Paul.
Hi.
Yeah, I
Nice.
was one of your friends.
Oh, really? Buddy is the best roommate.
He's a great guy. It was such a pleasure, even in the short time that I knew him. He had such an impact on me.
I'll just do it this way.
Positive things about it. Positive part going ahead.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. He wanted people to live their dreams, so that's his thing. So go out and do it, get it done. Can live with you while you do it. I think that's why I got it for everybody. He's alive in every one of you.
That's one of my favorite quotes. Actually, is what doesn't last is not lost. And it's because life is not gonna last forever. Everything, even sometimes you meet people, they make a huge impact on you, and then maybe there's not touch anymore, or as you go through life. But every single conversation that you have, for example, this one that I get to have with you, it'll always be part of your story, part of it'll leave something, part of your story that can't go as much as everything that we experience is transient, even if you forget about the memories, sometimes that's the good thing. It's like you have memories that just start to fade, but they're always a part of you.
Oh, that I love it.
To our work feng shui, brother.
He would love it too.
And
yeah. Gone too
till we
soon,
see each
but
other
there
in
was
DJ Heaven, Ian.
Yeah.
Word feng shui. And fuck them all.
Amen.
Oh,
yeah, they want to just have a big party with everybody here. I mean, his friends no wonder.
No, definitely. I'm not gonna lie. The first night that we found out he passed, we all got extremely drunk. I ended up throwing up that night.
Oh, that's funny.
So when I heard the story, I was like, yes.
Yeah, I had never heard that story, believe me. There were a lot of things I hadn't heard. But I love it. I 100% behind
my last name is Salisbury.
him having fun with his friends. And, yeah, I would have been worried about him if he hadn't acted like that. So.
Yeah, no, he was so charismatic and so just himself. I really just that's what I take away from it the most. It's like sometimes I'm afraid of how I might be judged or how I might come across. I can wear like a mask in different situations. It's like life's too short to be like that.
Yeah.
Like you can just be yourself and let people think what they want about you.
That's right.
He never tried to be. He never played that game of like perception. He even had a word for it. He would call it perception management.
Oh wow!
And I loved it because as somebody that's very into like psychology and stuff, he was very aware of everything that he was doing was intentional. Like he would have these concepts and frames and words, beautiful words I had never heard of. And just that phrase, I would be like perception management.
Oh wow!
Yeah, people spend so much time doing that when that's not really what needs to be done. It's draining. Just be yourself.
Yeah, more and more,
He's good at that.
I'm thinking that maybe we could write a book and, share something like, these conversations and things. And it's called the Book of Ian. And
Yeah.
I'd love that.
It'd be a great book.
Well, it was so nice talking to you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Make sure on your card that you put your name and number and remind me that we talked. And
Definitely.
that would be nice.
I was very honored to meet you and share this with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Is this the
You
urn?
did it. Yep, that's the boy.
Oh,
You can lift it up and feel it and talk to him.
okay.
He's in there. His ashes. Is he coming apart?
No, but we just don't want anyone falling asleep.
I don't want it to drop.
Wait, Mom, don't encourage people to pick it up. We are going to scatter his ashes, just not here.
Well, yeah, that's
cool though.
Yeah, no.
Where were you guys thinking of doing that?
I don't know, because like I was, there's like a no trace behind for Desert Heart type thing. But I was thinking like something like that for the community, or like feldspar, because that was like, he lived there with Gary, which was his love of his life. Like, I'm not exactly sure. And then that's something else. Like, if y'all trying to figure out like a good place, also put that onto the film. And then we have, if you have any pictures, we have.
Oh, I saw the email address. Yeah.
Send something for there.
Yeah.
Like, also the same email, if you have like, if there's a spot that you put the primo, because it's like.
It would have to be, I would say, I almost want to think umbrella, but it would be more like Burning Man.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
You know what
something
I mean?
big, yeah. We could even do like a little mini burn. Like go out to the forest
just
somewhere.
us?
Yeah.
Get
and do
Preston
it or
Drake.
something.
Yeah, we
Put it right
could.
there. We're going to put Preston Jade.
That's, yeah.
That's cool. I really just want to show it's like,
Oh, I like how they have vegetarian, the Boca burgers too. Those are the black bean patties.
Apple might be able to help you with like a
Yeah, they are. I like those black bean patties a lot.
Maybe hold your shot for a second.
Did you want me to go?
I got it.
Every time I think about it, it's just like a kick. I went around your foot.
I can bring you Dad's room beer. They have some Dad's room beer.
No, she said run over your foot.
I didn't want to run over her foot.
Do you move that back a little bit?
Yeah.
That really is beautiful, Lauren. You just,
Is that Ben? Hi, Ben.
is Ben in here?
Well, I think it's the GoPro.
Hey, dude. Are you in there?
Well, no, I think it's his GoPro.
Yeah.
We're doing his things.
Yeah, no, it says Ben's provided GoPro, so when people talk to you.
Dante. Yeah, Dante.
Hey, buddy.
Do you need your mask?
Best son ever.
Do you want me to give you this plate, or do you want?
I will take a plate.
Please forgive
You know,
me for
let me take the filling duty.
Good idea.
Wish we had you. See you, buddy. Oh yeah. Hey. Did you get along?
Take a shot at it over here.
Okay. These are.
I have my apple juice.
You're right. It was apple juice.
Use another one of those.
That's what it looks like.
Alright, we'll do my memory.
Oh, because he's recording.
Yeah, just
Yep.
Well, that's why we have you right next to the remembrance table. You're sitting here.
Just hang out here and eat food.
Yeah.
Lauren, can you go get I have the little brown bags under the wine table. Can you get her an empty one?
Ashley, have you got yourself any food yet?
Yes, I just need to rescue my plate. Sit with her for a second, just or.
No, let me. I'll stay here. You go.
Thank you. I need another shot really bad.
Oh no! This one's not yours. Oh, fine. I'm getting yours. I'm like.
You're beautiful. Him in your video. I'm sorry you had to skip before, but I do understand it.
Oh no.
Don't have a limitation. Doing better. It was a a learning the technology kind of a thing. So I didn't say that with the intent of people knowing. That was never the intent.
Hey, Shug.
Yeah, so the process is dick shot, and then over here there's actually a part to be able to
We go in front of the video camera and take a shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
okay.
I can pick up a shot, take a shot.
Right.
Oh man, look at these renegades. Oh boy.
Hooligans.
I'm loving it.
To the hooliganry.
To the hooliganery, indeed. So
Cheers.
Cheers, Ian.
But I need to use one.
I totally did the airport Leslie Nielsen. I got a drinking problem.
Awesome. Yeah, you're dripping.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you're dripping.
You have a drinking problem, bud?
Yes. Yeah, he does.
Solution. There's another one.
Yep.
Good thing I didn't wear makeup.
I'm gonna scoop on.
Are you also partners in the whole?
Yeah, I mean, I've been around forever. I worked at the record store when Ian started there.
He and I have been DJing together as long, in different direction even, like from down tempo and disco to techno.
There we go.
What I've always been in that realm.
It's amazing.
So he's kind of on that end.
I'm on the same
disco house
thing.
down,
Yeah. Less techno than
That's the kind of guy he was. I feed him just little snippets of ideas for like electrical
more like
engineering or
ambient
networking concepts, and then come back the next day and teach me the whole
Yeah.
theory behind it.
Yeah.
It's just like, how did you learn all that in one day while working?
Yeah, it's
So
fun.
you knew Ian back around.
Incredible how smart.
Yeah, no, I've known him since, CSL.
long.
We're stuck in the same fucking pit. We're stuck in the same hole in the wall in the back of the record store.
What was that? Just like sorting through and.
No, it was putting all the shit on the internet. It was like taking pictures and recording audio, and then we didn't do the write-ups, did we, Matt? No, we did do the write-ups.
April's help.
All the internet people, we wrote up all the stuff. Yeah.
You did a lot of it.
I did a lot of them.
You wrote the newsletter.
I wrote the
I would
newsletter.
like be like, dude,
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna write a newsletter. You want to do some writing? That's
Yeah,
how
sure.
it went. I was like, we
Yeah,
need to
sure.
put out a newsletter. You want to write?
Sounds like Umbrella. Someone needs to write an Insta post.
Well, it was fun because there was always good art to mess with. Like there was like Serge Gainsbourg putting cigarettes out on Brigitte Bardot like artwork, and I was like, well, I could write about that. That's easy. French misogyny. I can write probably a full I can write an essay on that. Doing these 2 paragraphs, done. Yeah, done. Yeah, done. I got it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, it was a fun job.
Renegade.
I needed a name for it.
That's what it was.
Renegade anywhere. There we go.
Have you watched this?
Pushing that one forward.
Oh my God.
Any project needs like different aspects. You might know a business aspect.
Oh, yes.
They may be able to produce the product and then
Oh, I'm so glad.
point you in the right direction.
Nice to meet you in
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
Okay.
I knew the face.
Okay.
You know, the internet saves me from having to think too hard. You know.
And this is Matt.
Go on.
Oh, did you? So did Russ, but I didn't know that it was that long. Yeah, got to see that. Well, he talked to me for a long time. So many people and when I went to the they sent her to it, like, oh yeah, and the guy started yelling me in there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say.
May not be in the same category.
And then later,
Yeah,
it's been recorded. And so he and I texted back. This was pretty much right after this.
Probably where the most helpful
She was
Right. Yeah, well, we produce all our own stuff.
She was researching serial about a while
Getting
ago.
good putting pieces of the puzzle together as well. You know.
And she just died.
Was that 407?
It was an accidental overdose.
You do that too. Bit.
And so he
Yeah, bit. Maybe not these days. Yeah. Have you seen the catalogs coming through it all? You're like, I don't even look at that stuff anymore.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can
we still
see
are.
it again.
I'll text you. I've got a digital link now that I
They're
set up
probably
for it all.
not this well taken care of as it could be.
No, they don't.
Oh.
They don't clean it up like you said.
Yeah.
The next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all connected. Okay.
Over here in SeaWorld.
Yeah.
She can really take care of its penguins and even just
Well, now it's even harder because ever since Blackfish, their funding got cut with all the protesting. But then that has an opposite effect. Now they don't have the funding to do the things they needed to do. Like they were helping local wildlife, they were doing so much back then. Now they're funding.
Piling this thing full of snacks. What snack? You can't live on snacks.
Oh no, you can't live on snacks. So how did you get back? That's the question.
my brother about how you can't really
Oh yeah. There you go.
Everybody else did not.
How did Ian get back?
seal.
No, but if you need to go out, let us know. We're trying to stand.
We're planning on doing that.
And
Did you try the meatballs yet?
be within 4 hours on the
You definitely
phone
will have
because
to.
it was
Then I'll tell
free.
you the secret.
It was free, you know. So and he
No,
had
they're
a tire that was
amazing.
going bad on him, and so we arranged.
Well, you forgot the ingredient already, so I don't have to worry about her
Had
still
him
cookies.
down the freeway.
You've already told me.